All right, so what we are looking at here is the home page or the home screen for the Awol 3500 Pro. This does run off of Android 9, so it is a few Android versions behind. I believe it's up to 13 right now. And as you can see here, there are no built-in streaming apps. There are a couple of apps. We got a File Explorer. We have the eShare server, which will let you use a mobile device as a wireless keyboard, touchpad, gamepad, remote control air mouse, and a wireless camera. We've got another file manager here, so you can search on your local device. You can insert a USB device or connect through DLNA. And then Joy Pages is India's first web browser for TV. Back to the home page. Again, we got a file manager, screen share, so you can share your screen from your mobile device over to the projector, settings, and then the bottom half here, we've got the composite, and then 3 HDMI inputs. But right now, we'll just take a quick look at some of the settings. First option here, we've got image. We've got a few different presets here. We've got standard, vivid, sport, movie, game, and then user. So if we choose user, under user settings, you can change sliders for brightness, contrast, chroma, tone, and then sharpness. Under advanced settings, we've got MEMC, which will let you remove some of the judder or smooth out motion. So if you want to get that smooth soap opera effect, you can do that here. You got a few different settings here. You got off, low, medium, high, and then movie. We've got low delay mode, so if you are a gamer, you can turn that on and off. Noise reduction, same things. Off, low, medium, high, and then auto. Dynamic contrast, enhanced black levels, which will enhance your black levels. Gamma, we've got dark, middle, and then bright. Color temperature, we've got cool, standard, and then hot. White balance controls. If you have the appropriate measurement gear, you can change some of the RGB offsets and gains here. Color corrections, again, if you have the proper measurement tools, you can correct your color here. MPEG noise reduction, off, low, medium, and high. HDR, which will become available once you are watching HDR content, and then wide color gamut. Next section here is zoom mode. We got a few different ones. We've got auto, 4:3, movie expand, 21:9, 32:9, 16:10, 235:1, 240:1, and then dot by dot. 3D settings, that will kick on once you are watching 3D material. Under Dolby Vision, under here you will specify what screen size you are using so you can have the best Dolby Vision representation on your screen. I am using a 150-inch Screen Innovations screen, which is acoustically transparent with a gain of 1.1, so I will choose 130 and above and change this to a gain of 1.1. Then the last option here under image is reset. Next section here is light. We've got light settings. We've got bright, standard, soft, and then user. If you select user, you can go anywhere from a 0 up to a +10. So since we are not watching any content, I'm just going to keep this on a 0. Intelligent light sensor will automatically dim or brighten up the laser's light output depending on your ambient light conditions. If you are in a dark room, this can enhance your perceived black levels and make them look better. Although if you do turn that on, you cannot control the light output manually yourself. So you are stuck having the projector do it on its own. Projection mode, we've got front projection, front ceiling, and then rear ceiling. Actuator control will turn on and off the 4K upscaling of this projector. Keep in mind that this is not a native 4K projector. It does run off of a 0.47 DLP chip, which has a native resolution of 1080p. By upscaling those pixels, you can get 8 million pixels on screen to give you 4K resolution. Correction chart will automatically put up a border around the screen to help you align the projector to your screen. And then focus control will let you manually focus the projector in to get the sharpest picture possible. And if you are a gamer, by turning on turbo mode, this will lower the input lag for 1080p down to about 8 milliseconds, and then I believe for 4K down to about 15 milliseconds. Next option here is sound mode. We've got a few different presets. We've got standard, music, movie, sports, and then user. You got a few different EQ sliders, which you can adjust manually. Under advanced settings, we've got your balance control, bass, treble, and then automatic volume control. Output device, we've got speakers, Bluetooth, HDMI, EARC, and then optical output. And then if you have this hooked up to a compatible speaker setup, like a receiver or a processor, you will have controls for the audio output format. You can use this as a center speaker. This will support DTS Virtual X and Dolby Atmos. You've got your network settings, Bluetooth, different accessories, and then under general, we've got power settings here. By turning this on, you've got your default power on options. You can go straight to home, go to composite, or any of the HDMI inputs from powered off to power on. We've got a sleep timer from off all the way up to 2 hours. We've got the standby light effect, power on lamp effect, startup sound, HDMI detection, and then you can automatically detect whatever's plugged into the USB. We've got different language settings, time, input method, eye care, which will shut the laser on and off or dim the laser on and off depending on if you pass in front of the projector's sensors, which are located on the top of the projector. Laser outlet detection, CEC enable, store mode, screensaver timer, ketone, PJ link. So if you want to control this over your network, you can set that up to do that here. Now, even though this projector does run off of Android 9, this does not have any kind of streaming apps built into it. This does, however, come with an Amazon Fire Stick. I'm not going to talk about the Amazon Fire Stick because that is not made by Awol, but if you do want to stream shows and use Netflix, YouTube, etc., Disney Plus, HBO, all that, you can do it using the Amazon Fire Stick. And that is an external device which does plug into the back of the projector. And that is it for all of the relevant projector settings. As for the projector itself, it measures 23.6 inches wide by 13.9 inches deep by 5.7 inches in height, and it weighs 23.8 pounds. On the top are the sensors as well as the customized Ricoh 2.0 lens for images up to 150 inches. And on the corner is the touch-sensitive power button. On the back is an optical out, USB in, LAN connection, an AV input, HDMI inputs with support for EARC, and it's got a 36-watt audio system on board.
We've all been there. It's no place for a cub. All those rotting bones and burning pools of oozing blood.
Rotting bones? Oozing what?
Promise me you'll stay away, Simba. Now you run along. And remember, it's our little secret.
An elephant graveyard.
Whoa. How far is it?
Not far. Shadows. But don't worry, everyone's been...
We've never been that far before. What if we get lost?
Relax, Nala. I patrolled the entire kingdom this morning with my... There's nothing to worry about. Well, there is one thing.
Now, the projector has been out, I want to say, for about 2 years now, and there has been other DLP projectors that have been trying to match the quality that the Awol brought to the table back then, some of which now has a feature that the Awol is missing, notably tone mapping. If we take a look at the world-famous horses from the Spears and Munsell disc, we can see that at 600 nits, you can kind of make out everything that's happening on screen. Moving up to 1000 nits, things remain largely the same, except with a little more brightness. And when we hit 2000 nits, everything starts getting blown out. At 4000 and 10,000 nits, it's just a few horses standing in a white background, so there's no tone mapping on board to help maintain detail in high brightness. Now, there is some control for HDR under the advanced settings. There's auto, which will try to select the best option. There's low, middle, and high, which gives priority to highlights for a brighter picture. The middle option is the best for trying to control highlights and shadows, which the auto option seems to prefer. Comparing that to what Dolby Vision does at 10,000 nits in dark mode and in bright mode, it's a night and day difference. And here's the same shot in HDR10 Plus, which I'd say is a step down from Dolby Vision, but is still better than standard HDR10 without tone mapping. One thing that I have noticed is that Dolby Vision does make things look flatter. Comparing a shot with color, HDR10 at 2000 nits versus the same shot in Dolby Vision in bright mode and in vivid mode, HDR10 Plus looks to have a more balanced look, while Dolby Vision, again, looks dull in comparison. It also seems that Dolby Vision does bring out more shadow detail over HDR10 at the expense of raising blacklight. levels that now appear more gray in comparison, which may explain why the previous demos came out looking dull. Now, throwing a newer DLP projector into the mix, here's a shot from Aquaman in Dolby Vision on both the Awol and the Valerion Plus 2. It's pretty clear that the black levels and the shadow details are better on the Valerion. The blacks on the Awol are gray in comparison. There's almost no detail in the clock that's in the background, and you can barely make out any of the folds in the guy's coat. And these are both in Dolby Vision Bright mode. Taking things a step further and adding in the Sony Projector 8, the blacks are truer and the shadow detail is very visible in both the clock and the coat. The Sony doesn't support Dolby Vision, so it's doing the tone mapping for HDR10. Going back to the horses and comparing the Valerion Plus 2 in HDR10 at 10,000 nits to the Awol at 10,000 nits, the Valerion wins again since it does have tone mapping on board, while the Awol does not. And yes, the 4K upscaling and enhanced blacks are all active in these demos. Now, with all the tone mapping aside, this still throws out a very bright, very colorful image that didn't have any issues lighting up my 150-inch screen while providing HDR with a satisfyingly punchy image. It's an RGB triple laser projector with 107% Rec 2020 coverage, so colors looked fantastic. It is brighter than the Awol 3000 that I reviewed 2 years ago with a rated spec of 3500 lumens, and while I was a huge fan of the Awol 3000 for its 3D image quality, the 3500 Pro takes it up a notch with a brighter image. All you need is a pair of DLP 3D glasses and you're good to go. The only thing that I would like to see in a future iteration is maybe some better Dolby Vision performance, and perhaps they can add some tone mapping via a firmware update. If you aren't a hardcore stickler for the best video performance and want a projector that has plenty of brightness, enough to use with some ambient lights on, the Awol 3500 Pro should be up to the task. They are running some promos on the 3500 Pro on their site, so if you want to grab one and save some spare change, I'll leave some links for it down below in this video's description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.